Brian from Tactical Performance Center here. We do a drill and we're going to talk about familiarity with your gear and then marksmanship. So the drill I've got set up today, what I'm working on is being familiar with the gear that I have intimately. So not just knowing where my holster is, but knowing how my belt gear and a carbine and the sling all flows together. So what I've got set up, I'm using a PCC. This is a Sig MPX Gen 2. I've got it set up with a folding stock and a sling. This is the gun that goes with me in my truck when I go out in the backcountry, just because it's pretty compact and, you know, I'm not really expecting to shoot at bears or anything, but I can pop small game and it's a useful rifle to have. The way I carry it in my vehicle set up, I've got the stock folded on the sling with the adjuster for the VTAC sling in the little hollow in the folding stock here. So that keeps the sling pinned. And I carry it with the bolt closed and an empty magazine in place. An empty 20 round magazine. So this is going to be my start position, and I'm going to start with this gun on the barrel. And you see I've got 5 pieces of steel right in front of this first position. Now I'm going to engage those 5 pieces of steel after I pick up the gun, unfold the stock, charge it. Now I've got 5 rounds set up in this magazine, so the gun's going to lock empty. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to sling the gun up. That means I got to practice getting the sling on and then letting the gun hang efficiently without fumbling. I'm going to draw my pistol. This is a Glock 45 from a Safariland ALS holster. I'm going to draw my pistol. I'm going to engage 5 pieces of steel in the middle of this bay on the move. I have 5 rounds in the pistol, at which point it'll be empty. I'm going to reholster that empty pistol so I don't have to do a hot reholster. I'm just mitigating risk a little bit. I'm going to reload that MPX from a pouch on the back of my belt, and I'm going to engage 5 more pieces of steel from a third box. So, first box, unfold the stock, charge the gun, 5 steel. Sling it up, draw pistol, in the middle on the move, 5 steel. Holster pistol, reload carbine, from the third box, 5 steel. Let's check it out. All right, so that was 12.57. Now, let's look at the things that I can improve on that run. So, got a little nervous for the camera. I run this twice before, had no issues with the pistol plates in the middle, but getting nervous, I had 2 misses on the move in the middle. So what I'm gonna work on as I look at the drill, what can be improved, after I get the gun slung, I need to woo-saw a little bit, calm down, and see the sights just a little bit more clearly, because every sight picture I saw was a little bit wonky, which for those targets on the move, combined with probably a little trigger stuff, wasn't good enough. So we're gonna run it one more time. What I'm gonna do, we'll use this as an example of how to come back and center yourself. I'm gonna try to not go over 13.5. So I'm gonna give myself another second of leeway. And I'm gonna go 1 for 1. That's the plan, let's see what happens. Okay, so that's an example of carrying your momentum forward. Things were going really, really well. Good manipulations, good hits, unfolding stock, flicking the safety off. First position with rifle was beautiful. Drew the pistol after slinging the gun efficiently. 5 hits, feeling good, reholstered, decent reload. Let's drive this thing home. And we forget that there's a little more aiming than I did there was required for those targets. But that time, I gave myself until 13 seconds. That time was an 11.89, and that's just an example of things went a little more smoothly, and I accelerated in. So the other thing about the marksmanship aspect of this drill, the manipulations and the familiarity is great. From my perspective, when I look at my own training, the marksmanship aspect of this is the targets are fairly close, which means you really want to go fast, and I'm trying to go faster than I can realistically get hits. Now, this is great if what you're trying to do is learn. And if you're actually training versus practicing. Training, I do this, I'm gonna swing really hard, I'm gonna see where my breakdowns and what my failures are. That's what we're talking about right now, my failure points that I can address. In practice, what I would wanna do is instead say, hey, I know what I can do on this exercise at 95% capability. So I'm gonna run this at 95% capability and make sure that I hone that little zone of performance and make it more accessible, more consistent on demand. So we're going to set it up one more time, and we're going to do this in consistent on demand zone. So that's an awesome exercise I just did, and I recommend you do similar things, even if it's not on as complex of a target setup, to get familiar with how your gun works, all the different manipulations, and combine it with marksmanship challenges that aren't necessarily that difficult, but that promote you going faster than you should. It's not to say you shouldn't go fast. Slowing down is generally the opposite of winning, because generally the fastest person who hits everything wins. But you can try too hard, you can pull the trigger too soon if you're not paying attention. So the marksmanship side of this drill makes you pay attention at a high rate of speed. The manipulation part makes you touch every part of the gun that matters. I had to be careful with manipulation of the safety, the sling, the charging handle, my folding stock, the bolt release, as well as my pistol and its holster, and maintaining a safe reholster.